Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video.
Well, good morning everybody. I got a chance to get here very early today and get a night flight in, at least a pre-dawn flight in. Part of what I wanted to try to do is give us some views into the east side where they've been installing a lot of that equipment that we've been seeing delivered, and got a chance to look through the windows today, and hopefully this will give a little bit more of an idea of all of the work that they've been doing to set up more production lines with everything that we've been seeing. And of course, with a few of these images here or video clips, you get an idea of what you're going to see. So I'm going to, let most of that happen in the main video because there is a lot. But we get a little bit of a pre-dawn tour around the site, view through the windows, and then a sunrise around Giga-Texas. The last thing that I want to just mention here as far as what we see on the site that is really of interest is two things. One, over at the outbound lot, there are a lot of vehicles. It just shows that production has really been ramping up. I've seen cars being lined up in places where we don't normally see them. It's kind of like overflow. And they are working today over in that end of line, getting them ready for shipping, and a lot of the trucks were loading up and moving off site. So production seems pretty good. The other thing that I just want to mention is those stamping press items that are destined for Giga Nevada are being prepared for shipping again. This will be the third major shipment. This is the last two of the very large sections of the stamping press. And of course, they're going to have a lot of other items that go along with it. I did notice that sort of the wrapped up mechanisms that make the stamping press work have been moved off site already. I did not see them here today, but you can see one of the items on a very heavy lift trailer, and the other one is getting prepared for shipping. So that'll be really cool to see when it leaves Giga-Texas and when it arrives out at Giga Nevada. So without further ado, let's get in the drone, let's fly around and see what Giga-Texas looks like on this very early morning.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are considering purchasing Starlink, I would recommend that you use my referral link at the bottom of the screen. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. Well, good early morning here at Giga-Texas. It's pre-dawn and we get a chance to see what the site looks like early in the morning. Now at the bottom of the screen, a lot of transport trucks lined up with vehicles already busy. Of course, we see the Megapacks, the electrical switchyard that is being extended, the work nearby, of course, the Cortex 2 data center that's being constructed, and the cathode building and die shop. Also had a good chance to look at that east parking lot and how busy it is. And this is a Friday, and the amount of traffic is quite a lot, much more than I was expecting because it's not really a production day. But you can see that a shift change has happened. A lot of vehicles are departing the site at the moment. I'm going to continue to fly at this altitude, just sort of give us this overall view of the entire site from the east side. And we can tell with all the smoke coming up on the middle center of the screen, that's the Sandhill Energy Plant. Next to it on the left is the water treatment plant. And the Colorado River runs in between where that dark space is. And then, of course, with Giga-Texas as well. This is a great view of the activity in the receiving doors at the north end of the cathode building. And I'm going to bring the drone down to a lower altitude and give you a closer look at the north kind of office space that is built in here at the cathode plant. They have a lot of the screens down because of the bright sun during the day. And you can get a good shot at looking at the workstations that are here from this vantage point. While I'm at this altitude and we are on the east side of the cathode plant, we're going to fly over the Wade pit, which is almost empty, towards the crash testing facility and use this opportunity and lighting to zoom in and show you what it looks like on the inside. Appears to be a Cybertruck that's getting some sort of testing, but otherwise not a lot is underway at this point in time. But it's also instructive to show that even this time of day, when it's about 5, almost 6 o'clock in the morning, just how much light and activity there is, and it's on a Friday as well. So I'm going to fly over more of the east side, give you a view across this entire part of the site, looking back towards downtown Austin, which is somewhat clouded or shaded in clouds. You can see a little bit of that downtown in the upper right, and we'll get a little bit around this side, and I'll resume here momentarily. I like this view of the multi-level parking garage because we get a good look inside all of the various levels, and you can see where the privacy fence is on that 7th floor and on the ground floor, and that is still in place even after all of this time, and perhaps they're using that for some additional product development on the inside there. It's hard to say for sure. As I get close to the southeast corner, a nice view of River Road on the left, the main highway in the center of the screen, the cooling plant here, and as I zoom in, a great look at all of the lit up ground level, plus those new yellow panels that have been added onto that corner, and they're still working to get that kind of stain in that darker gray. Now, while I'm here, I want to try my best to give you some views on the inside of the factory. Now, with all those red items, and you can see the coils of steel on the ground through the window line, that is stamping. And then just past that, this area here, as we see more of the stamping machines on the ground level, we're going to see kind of a change, and there's an interior wall, and then we're going to see where the recycling efforts take place. That's where these receiving doors are located, and then that interior wall, and it turns to black through the windows. That's where it changes over to body in white. It looks like there is another kind of opening, maybe a receiving door being built on the left-hand side of the screen. Of course, work around that platform. And through the windows here, we get a great view of what is going on the 2nd floor. And above this, there's actually a third floor mezzanine that has been added in. As I try to zoom in a little more, you can get a good view here of some of those yellow robotic assemblers. We've seen those being delivered. Looks like they are being assembled into some sort of production line through there. Plus, there's a lot of other equipment just sort of near the window lines getting ready for installation. And a lot of this is what we've been seeing brought over from the west side and then loaded up through the platforms. And I'll try to bring the drone down a little lower and try to give you this view here through the windows of what it all looks like. Again, a lot of the crated items, other items that are wrapped in plastic, and even more items that are being unwrapped. And this is just a great view through in a normal part of the factory that we're not able to see, mostly because of the lighting and the power lines, which are between me and the factory. But here's a great view of some of the equipment on the ground. Much of that has already been moved up through that platform, and that rubbish chute that is used for all of the wrapping material and crates that these items come in, and for that's recycling. Here at the secondary main entrance, I'm zooming in so you can get a look at some of these castings that are on the ground floor, some of the plastic sheeting where they're doing internal work, and some more work on the 2nd floor. Just past that glass, you can see some of those racks mounts area. That's where Body in White is, and the robots doing assembling of the bodies. This shows you more robotic assemblers and other items on the 2nd floor here through the windows, plus some looks like privacy fencing. and some tables and probably some tool dispensing machinery. Those are those rectangular lit up items that you can see. On the roof is these new enclosures that's part of that HVAC system, and the permit to expand this section. You can tell that they've got a lot of the grates on the northern 6 of those, and they're still working on the southerly ones. As I bring the drone back down, focusing on the windows, you can get a good sense of just how much more equipment and items are inside and need to be unpacked and installed, plus a view through this new temporary platform as well. And the crane is getting ready for more equipment to be brought inside. The open doors on the ground level show us into the casting machine section, and you can see what that kind of looks like on the inside. More castings around on the ground level, the baghouse filtration plant and how it appears when it's lit up at night. And as we get closer here to the melt furnace or the melt center with the furnaces just through the doors, you get a good sense of what this appears like. The loading system with the furnace on the center left of the screen, and then where that furnace and a new loading system is about to be installed. So I'm going to kind of bring the drone up to a little bit higher altitude, show you a view of the north side of the site, plus the downtown really lit up well in the upper right hand corner, and we'll reposition the drone and continue the narration here momentarily. So I'll do a cut here. We'll be a little bit later in the day, more of the light, and we're going to kind of look at what is going on with Megapack 2, the perimeter fence, and the lighting system here. The lighting was operational earlier, but now with the sun up, they've turned them off. We can also see a good view of the center cable trays and the cables that have been run through that section. And of course here on the north end, that control trailer with some more cables that need to be connected. Now, speaking of control trailers, this is the third of 3 on the bottom left of the switch yard. The bottom of the screen is this new connecting tunnel, and you can tell that the vault is lit on the inside. And it's interesting with that opening and this kind of vaulted trench that connects into the new vault where it has a similar opening. Some of my viewers have pointed out, and I've noticed as well, as on the opposite side, at the far eastern side of this underground vault, there is another large opening, which suggests that we may see yet another connection at some point in the future. Of course, the forms, the rebar, and the prep work around with those rectangular openings is all proceeding well and getting ready to get to the point where they can pour some concrete. Now, the north graded section, it looks like that work is all completed, ready for construction. We see more of the items being delivered at the bottom left of the screen. These look like maybe steel parts that are used for the vertical assembly of the new switch yard. And then here we see some other items on the ground. On the north end, inside the fence of the switchyard, we see the V-type circuit breakers, some other items, and then along the fence line, we can see some crated items that have been delivered as well. So they're just trying to get all of the equipment in, all of the materials that they need to be able to build onto this site to mimic what we saw on the right-hand side of the screen. So that is definitely progressing, and hopefully we'll start seeing some vertical assembly very soon. Now on the north end of the Cortex 2 facility, this is what it looks like here today with the drainage ditch on the left next to the trees that has been added. Of course, a lot of birds now flying by, as you can tell. It's getting ready for migration season. And then the work on the exterior walls here of Cortex 2. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to zoom in and show you the work on the ground floor. Also this kind of retaining wall on the inside and how that all appears. And that kind of makes a lane all along this west side of the building, as you can tell in here. And it looks like with the perimeter grade beam on the outside that this is a grade change. So I'm waiting to see if we're going to have dirt filled in here to bring the grade up on this side of the facility, which will then be higher than on the east side. As we continue to fly to the south along here, we'll see the concrete vault in the bottom, some of the trench work that is underway here towards where we see the concrete pipe segments on this part of the site. It's being filled in with gravel, which means that they are getting ready to fill in the entire trench. So much of this drainage, at least for this part of the site, it looks like it's nearing completion. As we come around the southwest corner, it's a good view of that new retaining wall on the bottom left. Also a look through this opening where you see that smaller retaining wall again and that lane that we talked about here on the west side. And it looks like some items have been brought in, maybe materials on the interior. So bring the drone up. This is a nice look at the roof, the materials, and the progress that they have made. There's another large section covered up that has the insulation panels, and they're going to work on that before they can put the weatherproof membrane. The lighting is not ideal, but I thought I would take this opportunity to look inside the die shop here with the small amount of windows that we have. The best view is most likely through this part of the windows, and we can see those red A-frames for the cranes. You see the truss structure on the left, that's for large bridge cranes that go across the roof, and we see a lot of the interior work, much of which has been underway for a while with some of that equipment that is on the north end on the outside of the die shop. While we're here also, I'm going to fly through the alleyway and just get a view of what is going on. We do see vapors on the vaporizers. Some of that condensation are the frost, and it's on all four of them. Plus all the fans are working, so they are definitely doing some sort of production inside the cathode building today. While we're here also, I'm going to kind of turn around, show you this part of the site, some of the steel corrugated pipes on the bottom of the screen, and the materials that I had mentioned on the north end that are being used for that work on the inside, which we got a brief view through those windows. So this material will eventually go inside. So I'm going to kind of come back over to this part of the site, bring the drone down lower, show you some of the equipment and materials, also some forms that are being stored in this fenced off section. Looks like crews here are fabricating some items, some steel items, and then more of the steel studs being stored here on this fenced off section. You can tell on the inside still not a lot of work on the ground grade through at least this part of the site. Although as we get closer to the chute, I've seen a little bit more on the inside on my previous video. As we come up over to the roof, I wanted to show you one more time how this appears, some of the materials under the black cloth, and the work here with the insulation panels and waiting to finish up that white weatherproof membrane. So anyway, a lot of good progress here, a lot of great views around the site during the pre-dawn times. So I'm going to reposition the drone over to the other side of the highway, and we'll take a look at what is going on over on that part of the site. We just crossed over another transport truck loaded up with vehicles, and here we see some trucks with some crated items and some other transport truck waiting for their opportunity to either unload or pick up some vehicles and some of the equipment. These loading trucks for transport still being stored in this site. Some of them have been used, but not a lot of them, and I still think that this is excess capacity. They're getting them all ready for maybe later in the year when we see some different production going on. As I continue to fly to the south, this is a nice view of this staging yard with a lot of the steel items that are stockpiled here. Much of this has been used on the inside for those mezzanines and other interior construction. The Evapco fan and base units plus their connecting items and pipes. Still really not a lot of change here. So it's something I've been watching for years to see where this is actually going to be used. So I'm going to bring the drone up to a higher altitude, give you a nice view of the factory with the sun now coming up over the horizon, and just a nice view overall, even with some of the mist of the main factory. I'm going to bring the drone back down. We're going to take a look at what is going on at the outbound lot, where it is extremely busy today. And you can tell there's long lines of Cybertrucks here on the north lot. There's also a lot of the Model Ys here on the north side as well. Most of these Cybertrucks, in fact, it looks like all of them have the tonneau cover, so I am assuming that these are not the rear-wheel drive vehicles. We see the Tesla Semi getting charged here at the bottom right of the screen, and of course the end-of-line facility. Next to the test track, we see a red Model Y coming in, which is a nice color for the vehicle. I know a lot of people that are buying red because of some of the incentives lately. I also noticed as we get down here by the test track, if I zoom in, the wash rack is now being used, and they're going to be spraying off this silver Model Y. And it's a great kind of a view of how this whole operation will work and how this system is put into place. They still have some final plumbing and trenching to fill in to complete this installation, but it's good to see that is operational. Many Model Ys being checked out here, prepared for movement to the outbound lot. In addition to that, we can see a lot of the vehicles here at the supercharger lot, and there's an overflow group of Model Ys just to the south of all of the canopies. And I haven't seen this in a while. This is normally done when the amount of vehicles kind of exceeds their processing time over in the outbound lot. So before they get over there, they will park them into these kind of overflow situations, which you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. But a great overall view of the supercharger operations and some of the other activities that are going on here just to the south of the end-of-line facility. So I'm going to kind of reposition the drone over towards the material staging yard, where there's some interesting new developments that I want to show you. Here on the north end, we see what all of these materials look like, the transformers, some of the workshops, even some of them with the solar panels on the bottom of the screen on the roof, and plus cable spools. But the main thing that caught my attention today was this, and this is a part of the stamping press items that are going on their way to Giga, Nevada for the Tesla Semi production. And you can tell that more of them have been moved. The crane has been repositioned. Some of the other smaller parts have already left the site, or at least been prepared for transport, and we're left with just these big items. In addition to that, if we look over the power lines, we can tell another one of these heavy lift trailers has one of those brown wrapped stamping machine sections on it, and we'll most likely see another trailer arriving, or at least two more, so that the other items that looks like this are prepared for transport. And it takes several days once they depart here at Giga-Texas to arrive at Giga, Nevada. And Heinrich Zane, who does drone flights of Giga, Nevada, is aware of this, and we will have him follow along, and hopefully we'll be able to show you when these are delivered. Now, speaking of deliveries, on the bottom of the screen, we also see a lot of different trucks that have arrived, bringing in more production equipment. This is one of them, and this is kind of a closer in view of what this is. Can't quite read the labels, but you can tell what the crates and the green covers look like here. More items on these trucks being prepared for delivery here, and some of them in the silver wrap we've seen before. Others of them are in these wooden boxes, which usually is some sort of automation equipment or other equipment that supports the main production line. So that's what we're kind of seeing here. The evergreen accordion truck is bringing in even more of the crates. And as we pass over the transformers here and much of the material that has been unloaded here temporarily, we can see that there is actually another delivery being done. This is that same evergreen truck we saw earlier. They are now using this telehandler to remove the items inside and move them here for temporary storage. And this is a nice close-in view of that. We see the yard truck in the top center moving away with a lot of items that are loaded up. This is what they use to transport items from the staging yard over to the factory for movement inside. course, this is another great close-in view of all of the items and equipment that is stored here temporarily. And as I zoom back out, I'll kind of maneuver the drone around and give you a good look at just how much has been delivered here so far. And also just a kind of a thought how much of this is going to take as far as time to move it and install it into the factory. And here's a great view here of even more deliveries being made on this side. You can tell the trucks all lined up. Some of them opened up with equipment for removal. And there's addition to all of the production line equipment, more of the steel items being stored here as well for construction. So as I finally pull away here, just look across the staging yard. This gives you a greater look across with the height of all of the materials that are being stored here and then subsequently moved over to the factory. So really great to see all of this. It's to me very exciting, and I think it's a very bullish move from Tesla that they're getting all of this equipment now. I had a viewer ask me to take a look at what's going on with the caissons. So I'm going to do that here. First, as I zoom in, you can tell that a smaller tunnel boring machine is being assembled on the left. Those are those 4 white kind of tube items that you see next to the workers. In addition to that, they're putting in the ram and ramp at the bottom of the screen. It is now turned 90 degrees. You can see the larger concrete pipe that the worker is going into at the south end that goes underneath the Colorado River. This one is now going to go underneath the highway and connect into the smaller caisson, I believe, that is on that side of the highway. So as I bring the drone back out and zoom back out, this is a great look at the work that's being done for that smaller tunnel boring machine and the concrete tunnel segments that are now arrayed just north of the crane and near the highway. And those are all the right diameter to go in through that bore that tunnel boring machine is going to make. Now that we've come across the highway and resumed the flight here, I want to show you what is going on here with that caisson that we were just talking about. The tunnel boring machine should most likely connect in with this caisson, and that's possibly what a lot of this other related work is being done here with trenching and pipes. So it will be interesting to see how all of this comes together, and I'll be able to show you on the next video, hopefully with a little bit better lighting for this part of the site. The Fork in the Road statue continues to get its new base and electrical system installed. You can see the trenching, the conduit, and we'll see what this looks like once it is completed. The last thing I want to do here before we get to the big pull away for the finale is just kind of show you what is going along the west side with the trench work, the trench boxes that you see here just under the power lines, and more of the pipes. They continue to work their way to the south, and that is more and more finishing up their work here farther to the north. I did notice this Cybertruck. Thought it was a pretty cool one. That we've seen this with some recent releases from Tesla about that particular Cybertruck. So it's great to see that here on site. Another thing that I did notice is that there is continued work here at the base of the flagpoles. And it looks like they've moved some of the gravel mix away. They're putting some sort of I don't know if that's a grid or a underlying mat, but they are definitely doing some work on this display area. And as we get to this part of the site, I think it's a great ending point, considering we saw a lot with the pre-dawn views. So I'm going to bring the drone up to a much higher altitude. We'll do a grand pull away and just look at much of the areas that we visited today, and also a look across the site to some of the background where we see the International Airport in the upper left of the screen. On the upper left corner is where they're adding in more apartments and housing, and in addition to that, some prefabricated warehouses. And on the upper right is downtown Austin, kind of shrouded in the mist, and a now much better lit east side of the factory. So that will bring to a close this early morning flight here at Giga-Texas. I hope you enjoyed what we were able to see. As always, thanks for your support. Have a wonderful weekend.